Hi there, and welcome to another episode of The InEVitable. This is MotorTrend's podcast about the future of the car, the future of transportation, where are we going, and how are we going to get there. We're here to talk about cars that are electric, cars that drive themselves, cars that run on alternative types of fuel, cars that don't have steering wheels. We're also talking about, though, how the car culture is changing. And we're bringing in a friend of mine. He's a comedian. He's an actor. His name is Byron Bowers. And, you look at this guy and you wouldn't maybe think typical Porsche owner, but he's Porsche obsessed is how I know him. He's also got a, interesting take on EVs. And just, I don't know.
Interesting take on a lot of things.
Yeah, but just, yeah. A kind of I think a real rising, I mean, he's obviously a real rising star, but like,
Rising star because he has right now there's a special on Hulu, a comedy special that you can go check out.
Yeah, his first one.
It's got it's a very difficult name.
Byron Bowers, just type Byron Bowers spiritual. You'll find it. You'll find it.
Very difficult name to get around. But yes, do what Johnny suggested.
Yeah, but he explains all that in the special. But I just think, like, if we were talking about who's the next Chris Rock, who's the next Dave Chappelle, who's the next George Carlin, comedians that have more than just jokes. They have something to say about society as a whole. I think Byron has a chance of doing that. Plus, his acting is taking off. I mean, this guy's in everything suddenly.
Yeah. Well, I would have said, I think that's a reach, Johnny. And then I did a quick Google search on him, and the second clip of Byron Bowers blew my mind.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll talk about that a little bit. I'm Ed Lowe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's Ed.
That's Johnny Lieberman. That's Johnny Lieberman. Let's get to Mr.
Bowers here, and we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Well, Mr.
Byron Bowers. This is awesome to have you on.
Thank you. Did I fade in or did I just pop in?
You just popped in.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going to start. So,
well, you guys know each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I was going to say, last time we not really hung out, but when we were at Sergio's and we were bouncing around in the Maybach, I had the Maybach SUV.
Oh, yeah.
And I had Byron in the back seat with his feet out the window, which I thought was a good move.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys do the...
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mimosas. We did the whole nine.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. But then since then, I haven't...
Well, what was that? That was 2 years ago.
Probably, like a year and a half ago. But like he was just, this local comedian I knew, and he had a Porsche. And then since then, every movie I watch, he's on. Every time I turn on the TV, he's on, doing commercials.
So you don't watch a lot of movies.
You've grown up. No, I've seen 3, and you're in all of them. No, but I was like that one where it was Zoe Kravitz, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like she's about to get naked, and there you are naked, and I'm like, why am I looking at Byron naked? I want to see Zoe naked.
Well, I was just a stand-in for that. I was an extra, and the camera panned, and I was there. But that was a cool.
You starred in that movie.
That was
Kimmy.
Kimmy with Steven Soderbergh and Zoe Kravitz. Shout out to both of them.
Very cool film, by the way.
Cool film, fun project. It just made one of Pace's top films of the year.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that.
Hmm.
So that's kind of cool.
It's cool if you haven't seen it. It's like kind of a pandemic movie, right? I mean, it's like a pandemic thriller.
And they saying it was one of the first films that kind of showed somebody with a different type of. Is she agoraphobia? I don't know what she had. I never heard of it before.
So like neurologically diverse, maybe something is the term. Yeah.
And what they say, like some being on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Showcase that. You know what I mean?
Bit of autism.
And I was like, I thought she was normal.
So wait, you're saying the actress,
her
character had it?
Yeah.
So they didn't get shamed for like not having an actor with the real.
I'm sure they will now. As soon as this goes live, they'll get shamed.
Oh, you guys cast somebody who didn't actually have the disorder, and then like they're pretending.
They're doing that now. You know what I mean? But I mean, everybody got something these days.
That's right.
It's a new thing coming up. So our stuff just haven't been diagnosed yet,
right?
Or I haven't went in to get my test because I don't want to identify as whatever I got, but I got something.
Maybe you do. Like
you got a few things.
Yeah, maybe you want to be the spokesperson for that.
You got HPV and autism,
right? Actually, a lot of people have that actually.
Everybody got HPV.
Exactly.
That's pretty common.
Yeah, you add something else on top of it.
Right.
You know, you don't even know. You know, so.
We moved fast in this one.
No, it's
we got
fine.
right to
Hey.
HPV and autism.
Hey.
Right away.
Last time I was sick, when I would cough, I would fart, and I'm like, that's got to be something.
You didn't explode. You did like negative pressure. Like
I didn't know what it was, but
That's
it was.
called, like,
I
minor-
definitely got nervous because I was like, oh, when I'm 60, this is
That's minor food poisoning, I think is what you had.
yeah.
minor football.
Minor, yeah, because it'd be, a lot more coming out each end if it was something more major.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I should have been a doctor, but,
okay. So you guys, but you still didn't explain. Like, how do you end up in a Maybach SUV?
Well, okay, so, when the pandemic started, a lot of us somehow wound up going up Friday mornings to the Good Vibes Breakfast Club up on
That's what I was gonna
Angeles
say.
Crest, and this guy shows up, and I'm told, oh, he's a comedian. He was just on Ferris' podcast. He's got this brown 997 Targa, which I thought was amazing because I've seen about 2 of those like that are not brown. I've never seen a brown one. And we just started talking. I don't know, got along.
Yep.
Both into cars and watches and hanging out up there. And it was kind of like...
It was a good getaway, and then people slowly started finding out what you do.
right. And
There was a
then
place to go. We just went for driving and hanging out, and you ain't got to think about this other.
you still going? You go up there every now and then?
Yeah, I occasionally go up there. Yeah, when I'm in town. I was gone for 10 months. I was in Baltimore, but now that I'm back.
Okay. And you live here. You're like LA. You're LA now.
I'm the world. God gave me dominion over Earth.
Okay.
Oh, yeah? When was that?
It's in a book somewhere.
But for now, LA is like home base.
Yeah,
Okay.
so to speak.
Okay.
I don't even like to say where I stay. It's better than not, but yeah, I do stay in LA.
Okay.
But you're also, you're from Atlanta,
I'm from Atlanta.
okay? And then I know
I go to Israel.
you go to Israel
every
a lot
year.
with Quentin Tarantino, who's living in Tel Aviv.
Who's there now? Shout out to Quentin. I
Yeah.
just met Quentin this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah. So, yeah, his wife is Israeli. She's like a big-time somebody from Israel.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of cool.
I just thought that I heard him on somewhere talking about that, and I'm like, oh yeah, my friend Byron's out there.
Is it you recommend it? Like you should go. Everybody should go visit or no?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's a certain type of person that I would say should go in a certain time in their life. But anybody from the hood, I think, that grew up, especially in the South, and went to Christian church, I think it's something they should see.
To get like a different take on.
To see, the real take on it, and like how everybody from the world come to see Jesus, and
Interesting.
the line, and how it's almost like, and it's such a tense place,
Right.
Jerusalem.
Right.
'Cause
So when you go, do you go to Jerusalem or Tel Aviv?
I go to Tel Aviv,
Right.
which is more of a party city.
I hear that's like L.A., but more expensive with better food.
What's it say?
The
Is the
food is definitely top notch, because that's a place I could go and I don't have to eat meat like that or anything. Like, they really love to cook, and you can go over to somebody's house and have the same experience. But it's over this. I've been going for 6 years. It definitely have shot up social economics, because I think it became a tax haven for the oligarchs.
Oh,
So I mean, I
interesting.
seen property go from like, $800K to like 10 million.
Wow.
In like 6 years.
I didn't heard that, but I had heard that it's just gotten so crazy expensive in Tel Aviv.
Yeah. But when I first went, I'm like, man, this is dirty. When we take this over, we're going to pressure wash all this. Because I'm an American when I go somewhere.
Right.
And then I kept going, and it started losing its essence, and they building new buildings.
Right.
And through corruption and stuff, people are able to build on the beach.
The Miami-fication of the world, as I
Yeah,
call it.
so
Same architects come in, same kind of like glass and steel.
Still,
No
the
character.
short buildings were on the beach. Now they tall.
Yeah,
The buildings behind that got to get taller.
Right. Blocks out the sunlight.
Right.
So,
So,
But yeah,
I'm kind of there. I mean, I'm not super religious, but I like food and I like the beach. Is the water warm?
the water is warm.
Beautiful women on the beach, like good place.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Beautiful women. Now people, since the pandemic, has starting to get in shape, and it's becoming that, taking, I think it's something that started here with bodies looking good, and you're starting to see that, because the gym is on the beach.
Okay.
Not like Gold's Gym, but the facility of it is on the beach.
Right.
And the saltwater pool is right there on Gordon Beach. So, yeah, you'll definitely see a bunch of hot women.
And then is it like?
And then they got the Arabic side in Jaffa, which is the Arabic beach, where
everyone's covered up,
everybody's covered up. And you could go get food there.
which is hot in a different way.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's hot in a different way, but you got to look at You gotta look here.
Oh yeah.
That's what I learned from going. Like by the time because I've been to Afghanistan, Beirut, and these places, and I was like, oh, this is they spend a lot of time right here.
Right.
You know?
And for those of you not watching along on
So they
YouTube,
get their ass shots
In that.
here.
he's pointing at his eyebrows.
Damn, she got BBL. Damn, girl, your eyebrows thick.
Exactly.
Wow.
What's the flight? What's the flight like? Is it direct? You go to
You know, it used to be direct. It's not direct. Everything goes through New York now.
Yeah, the pandemic wrecked all convenient flights. There's no more. You know, on Delta, real quick, I was just in Miami. There's no more nonstop LA to Miami. That doesn't exist on Delta anymore.
You gotta go through Atlanta.
Yeah, I went through Atlanta.
No, that's
So-
the hub.
but
I used to
it's-
work at the airport,
Did you? Doing what?
slinging bags. for Delta Airlines. Shout out to
Nice.
Delta.
Delta's great.
Let's start there. Let's go.
Just hit 1 million miles on Delta. Shout out to
Hey,
No kidding.
Yeah.
Me too, buddy.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy?
It's wild.
I pulled up to the airport and I was watching Kimmy and I pulled up to the gate I used to work at and my eyes got watery.
Oh, nice.
You know.
So I met a dude who's I think he's still there. He's a North American president of Alfa Romeo, 6 million miler. And I'm like,
what's his name with the mustache?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you get? He's like, private jets anywhere I want, whenever I want. I'm like, oh man, I got to keep flying. And
That's a lot.
Our guy Frank's on 2 million.
he's
I think.
getting to 2. I mean,
He's
just got to
2. I think he's 2.
I'm at 1.4. I'm 1.4.
Oh,
I'm in.
congrats. Once I hit 1, I just crossed over. I'm like, whew, I'm tired.
I'm 1 million if you add up all the airlines.
No. If you add up, I was almost 1 million on United. No, you gotta stick to
I
one.
know,
You got to show the
but-
loyalty.
There's some.
Yeah, I got some scattered stuff in there.
Yeah,
That's
I keep a United backup account.
In the auto industry, there's some games that people play, which I think is. I'm not saying you did, but there's a lot of people
No.
who are like, oh, I can't take that 12:15 flight on United, but I can take the 12:20 on Delta. Like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like, that's how they do
Well,
it.
I'm straight up. I say I want to fly Delta. No. What the real game is? Okay, we're going to. I'll make this up. Paris. What I'd like I found this cool flight. I can go from Boston to Philly to New York to London to Dubai to Mumbai back to Dubai to Paris, and it's only $10 more. Could I do that? And then the PRs are like, that looks like either human or drug trafficking. So absolutely not.
Right.
You know,
It looks like you got problems at home.
We're gonna fly you to
He's getting them segments in.
Yeah, that's a true story. I heard that phone call.
Oh boy.
But for $900 from LA direct flight to Tel Aviv.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And that was 6 years ago, and now they cut it. And then not only that, when you land at JFK, before you get on the plane, because it is Israel,
Oh, they're not very friendly.
no, you got to go through a full. I don't care if you clear, none of that. We want laptops. We want to see all your liquids, shoes off,
That's right.
socks off, you know.
Yeah.
And it's full, and they wait till you get in the little part of the hall before you get on the plane, and you
Right.
strip down
Yeah.
all over again.
Right.
You just see a bunch of like hats going through the. Can we say that?
Yes,
You can say
yes,
hats,
can.
yes.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Them
Yeah.
hats be dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, how they keep the brim so, like pimping type stuff.
I
But
don't know. So anyway, so Atlanta. So you're working at Delta. But
Well, let's go back.
before
Come on.
that. Yeah.
You born and raised in Atlanta.
born in Athens, Georgia. Shout out UGA. Go Dogs. Number
Okay.
1 in the nation.
That's true.
Oh, don't nobody brag about that. You know?
Were they number 1? I don't even pay
talking-
attention.
Are.
Oh,
They are number 1.
All right. Well, good job, dogs. So, okay.
You know, Alabama used to be the number 1 team down there ever since Forrest Gump played for them. You know, I don't follow sports like that, but I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
When he ran for them,
I stopped college football many years ago, so I barely follow NFL anymore because the Packers are so terrible. But anyways, we're trying to get your biography
in an hour.
You know,
Well, we got to get through just the.
I'm writing a book, so when they come out, y'all could follow that.
Okay, we'll take the highlights.
You're writing a
For
book,
now, I'm about to zigzag so
Okay.
I can get half the
That's
story,
right.
so you can check my book out.
but you're writing a book?
Yeah, I'm writing a book.
Oh, that's cool.
Me and Julie Seabaugh. Shout out to Julie Seabaugh.
Okay, so Atlanta. I know you've talked about this in your comedy special. You were a drug dealer at some point.
Yeah,
And then you were
briefly
working
internship.
internship.
Yeah,
And then you were working at
Well, hey, I heard you got a basketball You had a partial basketball scholarship to
partial basketball scholarship to King College
Okay.
in Bristol, Tennessee.
Okay.
And it didn't work out. I got
What position?
released from team.
You're not that tall. I'm not that tall, and I think I'm taller than
In
you.
high school, we did a wing, so it'd be a 2 or 3.
Okay.
By the time I got to college, everybody got a super tall.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I got hurt, so it was just a thing of like, freshman year was very tough adjustment for nobody who ever been to college before.
King
really.
College D3? D2?
NAIA, whatever they
okay.
call it.
Right.
NAIA. But
So but did you?
and Bristol had a racetrack. That's all you would see.
Right.
One of the
Bristol Speedway.
Yeah, you knew who had money because it was a house, big house, and a big racetrack on the same property.
Okay. And I heard on Farah's podcast you studied initially.
Nothing.
No, you had some kind of engineering and English.
I
and
mean,
stuff?
no, that's what I ended up, but I
Okay.
just went to college.
All right.
Yeah.
And then so you graduate college.
I graduate Bachelor of Science and
good for you.
Went into stand-up.
Right away.
So there was no transitional.
well, Delta baggage handler slinging.
No, that's out of high school. That's my first job out of high school.
Really?
Yeah, and the guys would be like, "Don't come back. Once you leave here, don't come back." And then
How long did you do that?
Back. For the summer,
Oh, okay.
and a
okay.
brutal summer too.
Oh man, hot. Oh man, yeah,
In
outside.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
People were
Horrible.
fainting and dying.
Oh, it's horrible.
Um,
My wife wants to move to Atlanta. I'm always like,
What?
have you been there in the summer?
Why should I move to Atlanta? That's weird.
What's that?
It's like
She
like
loves
LA. It's like LA traffic.
She
without
loves
the-
Atlanta,
the-
and our mutual buddy Killer Mike. He just invited us to go to his new fish place. So she's like, now we can.
Bankhead Seafood. Shout out to
Yeah.
Bankhead Seafood.
Is it good?
Man,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new place, but the old place was like, it was like a little trap house, but with fish.
Yeah.
And they would go get the fish in the morning. They would cook it, and when they done.
Right.
So you had to get there at a certain time. And I drove, because I didn't live nowhere near that side of town. I drove far to get that fish. And then they would put a bunch of fish in a styrofoam, like 10 pieces of fish. Fish be hanging out the side.
so hot it melts the styrofoam.
I mean,
I've
it's
seen that.
so good, man.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to go back and hit Bankhead Seafood.
So yeah, so he was saying they just built it out. And I think they're open, but yeah, now it's like a real proper sit-down place with a chef and all that.
Shout out to them, man, for first off getting something that's so established in our community, and then however that deal went down, these guys, step in and like.
Michael said it was a difficult process. The neighborhood wasn't that thrilled about it, and
like Bigfoot coming in and
No.
like,
The opposite. It was kind of like it's been gentrified, and
Right.
I was like, "Why don't they like you?" And he just kind of looks at me like,
Yeah,
meaning I'm black is why they didn't like me.
it's still the South, and
Yeah,
I was just talking about that with somebody. That's the thing. We don't have in LA because everything's behind closed doors, but in the South,
Oh, right.
automatically.
Right.
This is what it is.
Yeah. Our
And it's a
racism.
respectability about that.
Right,
It's in
right,
your
right.
face.
They will talk about our racism is behind closed doors. And
mine's
we-
in
we-
email form.
Yes, yours is an email
I get
and
email
comments on
all the
Instagram.
anti-Semitic
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
Ain't that crazy?
It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy.
A new discovery for me.
Oh yeah.
What which part?
Because I don't think I knew that Jewish people was in the South really until like I started stand-up. I had to be like in my 20s, and then guys would talk about it. And then I look back, and I'm like, oh, I went to school.
Right.
But it's kind of like a assimilation into white culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can hide out.
And where we didn't know.
Right.
It's almost like I'm going to tuck my chain in. You know what I mean?
I had the same thing going on with.
And I met Noah Garden Schwartz. He was a comedian. And when I met him, he was at Emory. He had cornrows and gold teeth. And my homeboy make a joke like, yeah, when he get an adult, he's not going to have none of that. But he was a cool dude.
Right.
And shout out to Noah Garden Schwartz. And now he's a father, and he's a little more traditional. Like stripped all that stuff down.
Right. Yeah. I had the same thing in high school with Mormons. I was like, man, those Mormon girls are so hot. When I was like,
well, by the way, we grew up next to each other, and the Mormon girls were particularly
just
nice to look at.
Were they the exotic chicks?
No, they're just like
clean, raised in Nevada, milk and honey type thing.
Everything you would see. I grew up. I was born in '76, so what you would see in the '80s on TV was like the blonde hair, blue eyed. Like I was like, wow, these girls. And my buddy was like, they're never gonna get with them. Because I'm like, why? I don't know. And then they're like, I found out like, oh, they're Mormons.
Yeah.
They don't. Not like. I'm saying like Mormons.
You could have got with a Jewish girl. But
there's if you're not part of the Mormon faith, which I wasn't, then good luck.
Not interested. So,
I found out dudes were trying to holler at the white girls, and they was all friendly and stuff. And then I found out this year that those were the Jewish chicks. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Sarah, I thought was a white name, but it's not.
So wait, let's go back to this. We want to talk about your cars, like your early childhood influences on cars, but. I'm really curious, when you get a high school job for a summer as a Delta baggage handler, that has to be like the worst. They must throw you. You're like the guy that you're just rotating in. They must give you like the worst job, right?
Well, I'm like $150 soaking wet. I'm light. I got lucky because I worked at Terminal A.
Okay.
And it's all
I know
big,
A well.
It's all big planes.
Right.
We know it because it take the long flights.
Yeah.
So I was able to work the machine. Like drive the thing and spin it around. It's only like a few times I had to literally go to the back of the plane, which is like 5 foot something or 4 feet.
I thought you were saying you would had to crawl in there and
no, that's what I'm saying.
stuff.
It's only a few times I had to do that, and I remember pushing the bags with my feet. Just kicking it just so it could get in the thing. And that's back when you could put dogs on the plane, and you put oxygen tanks on the plane with the dogs. And all. I didn't even know the rules one time. They was like, "Hey man, you just put a heart or something on the plane." Did you check it? And they could have been joking, but I was like, I don't know. It had there's some moistness in there.
So you're loading what, like 747s, like the big ones,
big boys, flying across the country.
A320s.
A is big, yeah. I mean, like 757 is probably the smallest plane that goes in there. So,
dang.
So I didn't, and I
it's just so hot. I can't imagine working outside.
I was fortunate enough to load the machine because I wasn't really supposed to be like. I don't think out there with the driving these big cargo things. And
you're like 16, 17 doing this?
I was 18.
18? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I have a question.
But I was there for the summer. Like,
right.
I just got there.
So, my question, though, is I've watched a bit of your stuff. I noticed you're very quick to point out, like, because you know about cars. You're a car person. And you're always like, yeah, like, there was a Cougar, it was an Accord, it was a Prelude on your special. You're talking about you drove to L.A. in a Prelude. Do you think the audience catches that?
I didn't even catch it until you said something. So, I don't know.
Because it's I noticed like Seinfeld would always like on the show he'd always have like a Porsche poster, and I was like
it's like Easter egg.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's a version of that for us, And when you say you're in a Prelude and it don't have a bumper on it, and you're driving this every day. It just shows where you at, and then the special opens with, I'm in a 992.
Yeah.
Cab.
Yeah.
And the song that was playing was a Young Jeezy song, and the words was taken out, but in that song he says, "Call the carpenter, the roof on the coupe's gone." You know what I mean? So, and that's a song.
So this is showing where you're at now.
Where I'm at now, and that song was very inspirational when it came out. So that's why, and people remember seeing me in that car and like saying stuff, and I changed the timing belt on that car, and then I drove it
the Prelude
to LA.
Wow.
So where did the car influences come from?
I didn't really grow up with a solid car, and my mom would be like, the mechanic want too much to fix the car, or they robbed me, I'm paying too much for this car, or etc. So it's the lack of, it's really the lack of. And by the time I got to high school, my friends Dion and Black, Doodoo and Black, shout out to them. Yeah, those are real names. That both their dad were mechanics. So my friends had cars at a young age. Black had a Toyota Tercel, and then somebody hit that, and his dad got the cheapest thing that things that he could find, which was a 1970 Chevy Nova.
Okay.
And he still got that car, of course. And
Yeah, nice car.
my friend Dion had an IROC, like an 80s
Ooh,
IROC.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because it's the South, so they
Right.
all, you know, Chevy guys, you know. So a friend of mine graduated from high school and got an Expedition, which was crazy. That's when I really knew where we stood socioeconomically. He got a Expedition from that year. And then he also ended up getting a 67 Mustang.
So he was from a wealthy family.
He wasn't wealthy, but because his mom, and shout out to Andrea, worked her way up in the company,
I gotcha.
and she didn't give him the shoes he wanted. She gave him half the money. He ended up starting his own company at a young age. So he learned about the value of
Entrepreneur.
yeah. Very, very quick.
Right.
And he still builds. He builds cars to this day.
So your lack of what cars? What were these cars that you guys weren't fixing? What was
We had a
your-
Datsun. It was yellow. It was very small and it smelled funny.
B210?
B210?
I don't
The
know.
wagon?
Two
No?
door? Four door?
I don't know. I think it got
510.
replaced by one of the Nissan like 2-door. It was a 4-door car.
Okay.
And then I remember my mom's friend got a Celica.
Mm.
So my mom's friend would get cars and bring them by the house, like a Benz coupe and all this stuff. And I got bussed. I grew up in Clarkson. I got bussed to Dunwoody.
Okay.
And
How far is that?
it's an hour.
Oh, wow.
It's from the bottom of
Wow.
the cab all the way to the
Oh,
top.
that's crazy.
And it's funny because two things. I would hang out in the hood, and I remember being there in Eastwick, off Candler Road, and Nard was coming up the hill in a gold Defender,
Oh, wow.
and I never seen nothing like that. Cause
Right.
you're in a community where a foreign car is like cost a lot, so everybody's driving like old
Chevys, old
Chevys and
Fords.
stuff, and even I had a 2.8 Beretta.
Oh, you had a
That my
Chevy
mom,
Beretta?
I had a Chevy Beretta.
Wow.
I started driving my
Was
senior
it maroon?
year.
Was it maroon?
Maroon. Yeah. with the gray bottom, right? Two-tone.
yeah.
Velour? Was it velour? Like a fuzzy
Wow.
interior?
Yeah. Yep. And it was so dope because my mom, I guess, got it and stopped paying on it.
Okay.
So she was like, you could take it till they come get it. And I drove it for like a year and a half. Wow. But that car, I had like my first accident in,
Oh.
and I remember the brakes went out. And I ain't know nothing about brakes.
Right.
And they fell out of they did all the screeching and stuff, and I was still driving it.
Right.
And then they fell out of I remember hearing the clunk when the pads
The
just fell
pads
out.
just dropped out.
And we was on the freeway, and we just driving this thing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so the Corsica and the Beretta were not very good cars. That was like kind of GM's rush answer to the Ford Taurus, and it was just they
Yeah.
were junk. Yeah.
So my mom would just buy them because she could afford. This is what she can afford. But I remember that gold Defender, and that was a game changer for me. And then when I got bused to school, it was this blue silver 740 in the late 90s.
BMW 740.
Oh, yeah.
All the executives,
E38. Yes, I know the type.
yeah,
Yes.
all the executives lived in the area,
Right.
upper management, white collar. So that was one of the prettiest things I ever seen.
But so I think if I read this correctly, you not having a reliable car, you're on a kid on a bus an hour going from one part of Atlanta suburbs to another, just looking and just saying, wow, that's like that.
Not like, look at this grass, look at this yard, look at the grass, look at the way the houses are shaped. These cars, and then look at the cars the kids are driving. Like
Right.
to me, this is
Wild.
this is money, but that's every day.
Right.
And my
It's like
sister, who
effortless.
didn't go to the school, went to our home school. I realized how it's a different mentality, because if you go to something like that every day, it becomes more attainable than not even being able to experience.
Never exposed to it.
That's interesting you say it that way, because I would think like that's actually a positive take on it. Or you could be like, I'm never gonna get I might not ever get this. I got to see all this stuff every day, and it's like crushing that way.
No, when I meet the second generation people with money, that's when I'm like, oh, this ain't, I ain't gonna get to this. But I also got a story of how I got to where I'm at.
Right. Well, it's like they say, right? Because I'm from an immigrant family. First generation makes the money. Second generation spends the money.
Yeah.
Third generation got to start over.
Yep, usually, yeah. And then hearing stories also, I was fortunate enough, my aunt drive buses, and it's an Asian people she talked to, and they was like, yeah, we live in the same house. We pool our resources until we get to a certain amount, then we slowly go out. And hearing those, before I moved to L.A., I had to take, because I came with nothing really,
Mm-hmm.
I had to take on the mentality of somebody that was going to another place for
Right.
the first time.
Right.
And hearing all those stories, you know, sleeping in my Prelude and doing those things when nobody else.
Did you have to sleep in your car?
Yeah, I slept in the
Oh
car.
wow!
Yeah.
For how long?
Not too long, maybe like 2 weeks, and then I
That's how
Start talking-
Leno slept in his car.
and I started telling people my situation, and they was like, "Oh, I have a couch, I have this and that."
Right. Okay.
But it's socioeconomical. I was sleeping on a floor of a friend of mine's, then I moved to the car, and then you move to a mattress. You know what I mean? Or a sofa. You know what I mean? Then you
Right,
move to
right.
a mattress. So you moving your way
Different
up.
levels.
Different levels.
Right.
So, but how did you?
Because I wasn't gonna accept nothing.
Right.
Also, seeing if you got that in your mind, and you know, people say I'm stubborn, but you don't know it at the time.
Right.
You're not gonna settle for the other stuff if this what you want.
Right.
So it's
Right.
either this or nothing.
Right.
This being success as a where did the comedy when did you start doing that, like when you say like I'm gonna go to LA and try to make it?
I started comedy like in my early 20s, and
So after college.
during when I
During.
first did college, and I would do a talent show. My homeboy with Pat Greer, shout out to Pat Greer, would let me host because he wanted to do stand up also. You know, at the time, and we had these things, and we did it. And then I think when I was 22, I went to the club. Everybody was like, "Man, you should go to the club. They go
Open mic.
Yeah, open mic on Sunday." And I went and got booed.
Nice.
But what I didn't know,
What club? Is this like in Buckhead or
Uptown
something?
Comedy Club, yep.
Okay.
And it's amateur night, but
Okay.
nobody knew.
Right.
Like it ain't open mic, it's amateur. Which means the crowd showing up to boo people.
So how bad were you?
I didn't have a joke.
Right.
I never wrote a joke before.
So what'd you do?
What was your bit?
I was just like, I remember saying like, how many of y'all got kids? And these people was clapping. I was like, man, some of y'all got some ugly kids. I wrote that on the napkin as I'm sitting there.
I'm laughing.
Yeah, and because you know how amateur or whatever it is, and people in the audience was just like, what? And I ain't had nothing past that. Then me and this guy, we got into it, and because I was funny, but I would just freestyle everything.
Right.
Me and this guy, we got into it. He started talking about me. I started talking about him. People laughing a little bit, and then they ain't have on those socks. And I remember he was like, "Hey," he's like, "Man, you know this shirt like Gucci." He said something like that. And I was like, "Wait, well, you got ripped off," and the audience laughed because it was ugly. So it was one of those Italian shirts.
Right.
And then he was like, "Hey, I got some spare socks in my trunk if you need them." And when he said that, everybody just. I remember the lights went out. And I'm at his table talking to him, and then Nard hosting RIP came up and was like, "Yo, man, you never leave the stage because on stage you protect it,
Right.
but once you go out there, you on your own."
Right.
And that's the first little bit of game he gave me. And when I walked outside and walked down the stairs, Black had the Nova pulled up already, which was funny because he was in the club with me.
Oh, so he thought something was gonna happen.
He already knew. Because for us to get in, we had to sign up. So
Right.
he signed up too, so he didn't have to pay.
Right.
But he already went down and that's how long the booze and stuff was happening. He had enough time to go get the car and pull it around.
And so then what made you say like, yeah, I'm gonna do that again?
I quit for like a year and a half. That was it.
Okay.
And then when I went back, I wrote some jokes, and I was like, I'm finna f them up. And I went in and I did the jokes, and they killed.
Okay.
What year is this?
I don't know the year.
Who's big in the comedy scene? Like who's like the top of the top at this point that you're just like, man, I want to be like this guy? Is this Chappelle?
Well, from the home state, Chris was in my neighborhood, and my homeboy Black family went to school with Chris Tucker.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that neighborhood, you know, Chris went to Columbia, and my people went to Columbia, and they lived on McAfee, and that's where I would hang out. And so, you know, his dad, you know, Papa Tucker and Dexter, all of them was like, none of that was too far. So that's to me who was probably the biggest.
Okay.
So okay, because we're gonna run out of time.
Oh yeah, I'd say it's gonna be a lot.
No, but I want, because what impressed me about you, like, first of all, you know, you've kind of gone beyond just like, you know, telling jokes about ugly kids, like, you know, like again, your special that's out on Hulu.
That's right. What is it called?
Spiritual. It's called.
How do we talk? Yeah, how do we talk about it?
We can't talk about it.
Yes, you can.
How do we say
we'll
it
get
polite?
beeped.
That's the
canceled.
That's the conversation, though. That is the conversation.
All right, so I'm gonna.
That's why the title is.
How do the white people announce it?
That's the thing.
Spiritual.
They gotta wrestle with that.
I'm not even touching it, but
it's a tribute to the old comedy albums.
You
you used to have to say it at the water fountain or in the basement, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's spiritual.
N-word.
Yeah.
They're gonna beep it out.
They'll beep it out.
But Daniel Van Kirk, shout out to him, said N-word, like looking inward. Because about me taking shrooms and having this journey and having a human experience.
But what is first, I mean, your delivery is incredible. You're absolutely incredible. But then, you know, you're watching it, and it's kind of not exactly comedy. You know what I mean? It's like that, the where you got me, where you're talking about, like, you know, in Georgia, you can't get an abortion. In LA, you can't get a plastic straw, which I thought was funny. Then you talk about you can't get a plastic straw because
the way people look
sea
at you.
turtles.
Yeah.
And then you were like, and then I went and swam with sea turtles, and it wasn't supposed to be. I touched one, and like, you know what? I've never touched a homeless person. And I was just like, oh, he's really transcending comedy here. Like, when did you go from like I'm writing a couple jokes to like really like? And again, this is why
felt lack. It's something about being poor or lack that makes you very creative.
But like, this is where, like,
because
to me,
I couldn't book jobs.
Right.
I was doing these jokes, and I just wanted. It got to a point where they was like, comedy's relatable, and I'm like, I'm not relatable, so I'm just gonna talk about my real stuff. And that's when I started talking about my dad having schizophrenia and all these things.
Yeah.
And people kind of came out of the woodworks and like, my dad also do this and that. And I never had that before.
No, but that part you did about where you were saying how, like, you know, you would turn to the church for solutions, and they're like, all right, your dad's hearing voices, so go have him looking at an imaginary person, was like,
and pray about it.
Crazy,
and me telling my people back home what he's going through.
Yeah.
And them probably knowing for so long, but not really like dealing with it the way, you know, like fully researched.
Well, also, just so you know, my father had a PhD in schizophrenics. He was a clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
And in '81, all the federal funding got cut. Reagan administration showed up and just cut to the bone. He lost his job. He worked at the Camarillo State Hospital,
which they then shut down.
Which they shut down, and that's what he did. He ran a lab where they studied schizophrenics and tried to come up with a cure. And that was all, you know, federal government just like pulled
the pendulum swung all the way back, and they a lot of people point to the reduction of the funding, the shutdown of all the mental health.
It's huge.
Also, they took away the ability to institutionalize people against their will,
right,
which was a big thing. There was a lot of bad stuff that happened, but it
especially in Baltimore.
Yeah. They say it caused. But
you black, you crazy. Get in this thing.
Right. But they said now the lack of the mental health support services has created the homeless problem.
That's the homeless.
So now you see it in the streets.
Now they're bringing back the ability to put people back in institutions. Like New York is doing some pilot program on that.
But anyway, my point.
That's good because I thought they was gonna make them just walk into the ocean and say it was.
Well, that was the Giuliani way. No, but look, my like, you look at like guys like Pryor, George Carlin. You know, Chris Rock, the really, like, the guys that transcend comedy. And I think you're getting to that.
Thank you.
Because again, your delivery is incredible. Yeah. Like, it's.
I just had him watch a clip on the way in.
It's not a Netflix and chill special. Because it's going to make you go inward and you have to wrestle with yourself. Like, I touched a wild animal, but I can't touch a homeless person.
Yeah.
My dad smoked crack, and I touched his hands, and it was like burnt and stuff, so I definitely have a little PTSD
Sure.
from that rough skin type.
But
of thing.
it's a great point. It was like I said, like that's why people I'm not that into comedy, but I like the Carlins and the Pryors where they're really talking about life, and I was like, again, I've seen you do this on a smaller scale, but you're special. I thought
The special is on
it's on Hulu.
and it's out right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
So
Google,
go check it
Google
out.
Byron.
I'm going to check it out.
But I was just like, whoa, like this is like that next step, the next level.
Thank
And
you.
So I was blown away. It was so
Appreciate
cool.
it, man. 'cause
We went real heavy, though. This is like,
That's
let's,
okay.
let's lighten it up a little
Okay,
bit.
Porsches.
Did we go heavy?
It was pretty heavy. I feel like man,
Well, heavy for our podcast.
Yeah, it's
Usually
like
we're
two-
like,
we're talking about
Well, sometimes
cars.
you need it.
I know.
I mean, that's why the special was heavy, because sometimes in order for us to get to the next level of anything, even when you die, you rebirth as something else. Or even when you're born, being born is painful, and it causes you to do stuff like that. If you take mushrooms, your stomach gonna hurt before you transcend. So sometimes you have to go through something and look at yourself and come to a realization before you go to that next level in life. So sometimes a little heaviness is
This
needed.
guy he's looking at the camera when he's making this delivery. This
good,
guy's
yeah,
born. He's
yeah.
born for this. This is I love it.
like I said, his delivery is incredible. No, but let's talk Porsches for a second.
Okay.
Because when I met you, you had you still have the Targa.
Yep.
Well, I looked on I checked out your Instagram. You did a post a few weeks back. Sitting on a 944, a silver on the back wing, talking about It's kind of like the started from the bottom. Now I'm here. Like
First German car I had when the Prelude got hit.
Why Porsche?
Because it always was that car for some reason. It was probably one of the most beautiful cars I ever seen. When I saw it for the first time.
The 944.
No,
no,
just Porsche.
a
Just
Porsche.
A Porsche
A
in
911.
general. It's something that resonates with you. Like
Okay.
it wasn't the Ferraris and none of the crazy car, but the curvature and the shape of it.
Yeah.
Was such a beautiful thing, So when I got it and I drove it, I was like, oh, you don't have to do nothing to the 944. You could just drive this car.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost perfect to me at the time, coming from Hondas. And now, because I put the 992 in the special, and I kept that relationship. These guys, shout out to RTTM and PCNA, got me an orange 992 GTS.
You got a GTS?
I mean, just for a month, I'm driving it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. I love the GTS.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But then you
I don't
also
know if I can afford one yet. But
you keep working.
I feel like you can.
yeah.
I feel like Frank at PCNO, Frank Weissman.
Yeah, we can hook that. But then you also got that crazy Cayenne, fellow Cayenne owner, although yours could drive over his. He's got like a faux Trans-Siberia looking monster Cayenne. It's awesome.
Overland.
I got the Cayenne SE hybrid. It's the wife's car.
Oh, wow. What year?
2017.
Oh, no. Okay. I got an old Turbo S.
2006?
10.
2010.
Yeah. I don't even know if they build them anymore like that.
I mean,
V8 twin turbo.
They do, but the powertrain's the same, but like the suspension, low gear, stuff like that.
You got to drive
lockers. They don't have that anymore.
You got to drive that Cayenne Turbo GT. That'll blow your mind.
Oh yeah, that thing's wild.
The latest like high performance Cayenne. It's the coupe version. It's
basically an Urus with a Porsche body kit on it.
It's crazy. It is
and
like
better tires.
It is really really fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so wait, so you bought this Instagram post. I love it. You're sitting on the back. It says you bought the car for $1,900.
Yep.
As your daily driver, and
It wasn't when I bought it.
right.
But I was going through a divorce, and I would work on the car every day, and it became a turnkey. It had some electrical stuff that was wired wrong, and it was shorting out. And I took everything out, carpets and everything, and would work on it.
And by the way, 80s Porsches are electrical nightmares because it was all just all gray wire and just like terrible, old Bosch computers.
How are you
and all
doing?
that.
You doing the, like you had the factory service manuals? There was no internet, like no YouTube.
Yeah, it was
like
internet. Yeah, it was internet, and you look at the manuals, you find schematics. You know what I mean?
Oh, I guess it was 2011.
Yeah, 2011.
And mind you, I went to school. It was a double E major, so this was
Oh.
just a big lab,
Okay.
basically. Shout out to Southern Polytechnic State. Because a lot of my people I went to school with, you know, they make weapons and all type of stuff.
Right.
But I found a different way to bomb in the arts. But yeah, I would work on that car every day. I got a few DMEs from there. You open them up and you know, resolder everything, hit the points to make sure the connections are great. And sometimes with those cars, that's what's dope. It's just the soldering is off.
Right.
So how many Porsches have you had?
That's mine that I bought.
Yeah.
Just 3.
Just the 3. Okay.
And
now it's 3 at the house, and it's embarrassing.
That's good.
It's embarrassing because the neighbor's starting to say something, and my lady is like, you know, what is she doing? What are you doing?
What does she drive?
She drives a TT Quattro.
Okay.
Oh.
So it ain't too far off, but
so you love
that's
German
what's
cars.
crazy. She don't like cars at all, but she drives a TT.
That means she likes design.
It's a well-designed car.
She likes things like objects of beauty. It's a good-looking car.
And she's like, "Oh, you got this flashy car." My car is orange. She's like, "You got this flashy car at the house."
All my cars are funny colors.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I love them. You can find them in parking lots. Yeah.
But what else have you driven? Anything notable? I heard listened to a little bit of the Farrah Smoking Tire podcast when you were on. You talked about fixing up BMWs, that you were doing some tuning, some trip work on some BMWs.
I had BMWs. I think my drives have always been like, the scary drives is like it's breaking down. Like when my head gasket was going in the Beamer because the fan or something was put on wrong, and I had to drive from the Laugh Factory downtown, and I'm in neutral. And that's when I realized LA sits on the hill, like the 101 to downtown. And I would hit it, put it in neutral, and just coast all the way down.
Hypermiling.
I had a Bronco, Eddie Bauer, Bronco 2, which was fun. I had the first Tahoe 96.
All right.
That's how I got my Cayenne, because I was like, I want another 4x4.
Right.
And
you got to see his Cayenne, though. The thing is just like, it's aggressive.
Yeah, so.
Is it on your Instagram, Byron Bowers, all one word?
You could follow me on that, but I keep the car stuff on the Rolling Coffee Bean.
Rolling Coffee Bean. Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, so it's a whole different Instagram. So
okay, all right. Coffee Bean.
That's where our
that's
pictures
his Targa.
Yeah, my Targa.
Because it's brown.
Right.
And I'm thinking of calling the Cayenne Hybrid Coffee.
So you know what you got? You know what you got to do when next time you get another Porsche, get the new Targa, because they have one in LA right now. Oh, they have a marketing car that they're giving out to celebrities.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. In fact,
I don't know if I'm a celebrity yet, though.
Yeah, you're a celebrity.
You were a celebrity.
First of all, hang on. So
people keep saying these things to me, and I'm like, I don't.
Okay, hang on. So you did Kimmy. You did with the
Honey Boy.
Well, yeah, but also Idris Elba. You were in
Concrete Cowboys.
Concrete. Sorry. Then you did that commercial with Clooney, where you were upstaging George Clooney. Like, that was hysterical.
That was a cool, very cool person to meet at that time.
What's he like?
I mean, he's very, very chill, but he got this energy about him. And
did he steal your pants or anything weird?
No, but just a person you could easily like they needed us to shoot, and we just sitting there talking.
Right.
We just having a good time. We're talking about a whole bunch of other stuff, and then they like, we got to shoot. And he's like, oh, I got to go. You know.
And what was the premise? Was like you put
is this an espresso commercial? What
No. He put an ad out right for like a roommate, and gets this horrible roommate. It's George.
No,
Clooney.
I'm selling something on Craigslist or something, and then he shows up to buy it, and the lockdown happens, so he's forced to stay with me.
Oh, right.
For the pandemic.
But he's like, you're playing against your type. You're like a square kind of business guy.
Yeah.
And Clooney's like just
wild man. Just
like practical jokes and like
walking by, brushing his teeth. I'm on a meeting, Zoom meeting. He got on his robe.
But I was like, oh man, that's like to like not, you know, if you're on camera with George Clooney, you figure everyone's just going to be looking at Clooney, and you're more than holding your own.
Well, it was that's the thing I don't know. I'm just fortunate, I guess, to do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the skill set and all that is so new, but I do know that he gave me some like great advice about, you know, storytelling and directing, which I needed to hear at the time. But when I was going out for it, I think everybody was like, what is this? And instinctively I did it, because I do a lot of stuff instinctively. So And it just so happened to drop on his birthday because it was gonna be one of those things nobody saw to me and all that. But it hit news once it hit all the like all that Entertainment Tonight and stuff like that.
Right.
I got phone calls.
Nice.
Well, but again, watching your comedy and I keep saying this, but your delivery's so good. But it's so polished. It's not. You're not just. I've seen a lot of comedians. They just stand up there, they hold a mic, and they just tell a joke or whatever. But you're moving, and you're so. There's a movement, a dance to it. I'm like, no wonder this guy can act without ever studying acting, because I don't know why you're able to do it, but all your movements are polished, your delivery's polished.
Cause I'm stiff. If I was trying to dance, but you know what? I just did a show, and the guy, the choreographer said, "Man, the way you move is almost as if, he's like, it's just great movement up there." And I was like, I don't even consider it.
No, there's a physicality to it that's like, again, most comedians, when they do anything, they rely on the mic. The mic becomes the prop for every single thing, and you can contort your body. I don't know. It was impressive, especially I think on the special, because you were really in that. First of all, if you haven't seen it, he's in a boxing ring. You're in a boxing ring for whatever reason.
Because comedy is compared to boxing, the sport of boxing.
Sure,
with
boxing
timing
yourself,
and everything. Yeah, the mental part of it and the presence. So I wanted, like Pryor boxed and like, Rogan with fighting and stuff like that. So I definitely wanted to display some of that. And then I performed in this boxing ring for a Katrina benefit in 2006 in an abandoned church. And I definitely wanted a church. I knew I was going to talk about spirituality. So that's one of the first things that came to mind. That's why we found a gym with stained glass windows.
Okay. I thought, by the way, in the intro to that, I thought was super cool because I didn't really, I assumed it'd be a stand-up special, but because of the intro where you're out in the desert with your buddy and, maybe from Arrested Development. What's her name?
Alia.
Alia
Shawkat. Shout out to her.
Yeah. And, so I thought like, oh, okay, maybe it's not stand-up, but then like how you guys get into
through his portal.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant. That was like really cool.
We was on shrooms.
No, I know. That was very obvious.
Yeah, we definitely.
Yeah.
And it's funny to create a project. You're like, man, I want to do shrooms and do this thing and go to work.
But again, you spend a lot of the special talking about mental illness, and there's
any type of mental health.
Yeah.
That we have,
but there's so much new research about psychedelic mushrooms and curing depression. And it's
safer than filling.
Well,
the
but
blank
but like you gotta like you gotta watch the special. That's all I'm telling people.
I learned to communicate with my dad from having a bad trip, because that was the first time I was able to have empathy for what he was going through. Because I'm like, his don't end.
Right.
And my trip was 7 hours.
Right.
And
that's why I stopped doing hallucinogens, because I had a trip that didn't end for like a day or so, and I was like, nope, never again. That's not worth it.
Well, it's lessons to be learned even in bad trips. So,
sure. But I'm good.
But the trip was, once I learned how to communicate with him, I had to go in with him. Also, a good way to learn improv is to talk to schizophrenics. And I would be in this world with him, and then I would have to decompress after our conversations.
Oh, it's got to be so hard.
Yeah, especially the subject matter he would talk about. Because it's good when you talk about dragons, and he said Dr. King told him to stop sleeping with white women. You go with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think
how's he now?
Oh, he's good. He has no more hallucinations, and he's healed.
And your relationship is good?
It's solid for the most part. But a lot of it is gone, and I have to live with that.
Right.
Because he's dead.
You
didn't like that delivery?
No.
I was good. My dad's dead too. So yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But it's a relief to me more than others that he don't have to deal with the reality or finding that peace no more, which is a very tough existence.
Right.
Think of somebody trying to, harm you when they trying to help.
Right.
Look, I only know this was about this because of what my dad would tell me about schizophrenics. But he's like, look, if you can get them to take their medicine, They're fine.
That's the thing.
The problem is they're paranoid. They don't want to take their medicine, and they hurt themselves.
And when the medicine makes them a shell of themselves.
Right.
So it's
right.
just sitting there,
right.
and they
right.
can't form
right.
thoughts. So, of course, they're gonna think somebody's trying to poison. Just like when people in COVID, when you hear normal people saying the government putting microchips. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now these are regular people.
Right.
So to somebody like me who grew up with a schizophrenic father, I'm like, where's the line? Where's the reality?
Right.
The reality is already skewed, and now you got regular people talking, like saying this is crazy to me. To me, it sounds crazy.
Right. No, that's wild. Yeah, it's got to be a tough thing though, because like I mean, again, I'm going back to I'm thinking a lot of people listening haven't heard it, but like the way you're able to talk about that, where it's funny, but then you did what you just did to Ed, where you dropped the bomb that and it's a gift. I don't know. It's a really cool thing you got. So.
Yeah, most comics are like, set up, punchline. I'm punchline, set up.
Right.
No, I'm just making that up. I don't know.
No, but
whatever it was backwards. Whatever we did.
Yes.
But you have this ability to get real funny and then just like suck all the joy out of the room with a revelation about like.
But
how
it's
the
that
world
release.
is
It
messed
makes
up.
it.
Yeah.
It sets it up, and then
It's
you
crazy.
have to laugh because it's like there's some nervous energy there. There's like, oh man, this is so sad, but it's also like so weird. And
But it's also
funny,
comedy
and
because,
it's-
right? I mean,
yeah.
comedy is when you hear the opposite of what you're expecting. That's what's funny.
Look,
Yeah.
as a setup to this, if you don't have Hulu and you can't watch spiritual N-word, one part of my research is I Googled, like I think Byron Bauer's comedy clips or something on YouTube, and the second hit. So the first one I watched was your debut on your broadcast TV debut on Stephen Colbert in 2019, which I thought was pretty good. The second clip that Google served up though was this one called "This Is Not Happening."
That was a game changer for me.
That was a game changer. I made him watch it before you came. That clip alone. So if you don't have access to Hulu, watch that one.
That was at a point I was doing a drama, and I was doing The Shy, and I flew down to do this, and it was all jokey story, and I was trying to remember the jokes, and then my instincts was like, just tell the story.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to remember a story that you lived? And I was up there, and I'm seeing all the images from this story I'm telling. But that was during a time when I was like, when I said comedy wasn't relatable, I just got to talk about the real stuff.
Right.
And when I was reading the comments through that, that's like, and then people was writing me. Somebody was like, I was on heroin when I saw this, and I got kids, and I stopped.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I started seeing these things, and
Oh, that's great.
that's why my special is a different than my Colbert, which is like all like laugh, because I wanted to, like, if I was shuffling cars, to shuffle the two, because I thought about the dad who was on heroin and all these other people that's going through these situations, and I wanted to not include them in this thing also.
Right. The clip, so that for those listening at home, you want to listen to it, you can stop right now and go YouTube it.
Yeah.
Byron Bowers, The Day I Found Out, This Is Not Happening, uncensored. It's not something you want to listen to with the kids in the car necessarily, unless the kids are like a little,
Depends on how old the kids are.
And what the kid is going through, because you realize it's some teenagers going through similar.
Yeah.
You know, I was like 14, 15 in that story. So
That's a great story.
Yeah.
All right. We have to talk about this is an automotive themed podcast, and we're like almost out of time, so we have to talk about this part of it.
Oh yeah. You buying an electric Porsche anytime soon?
Yeah.
We just got rid of we getting the process of getting rid of a e-tron Sportback.
Okay.
I drove it in Baltimore for the 10 months I was there, and it's also an inspiration for the Cayenne.
You like it? Did you like
it? It was what I didn't like some of the tech, like you charge it and then you put the heater on, you lose 30 miles. Or I'm using 50 miles to go 3 miles.
Well,
because I'm heavy. I have a heavy foot.
Yeah.
Because it just goes.
Well, I will say this: that the Audi, if you can knock their electric cars, it's that they have no range. You know, if you get another type of EV with a better range, because I had the e-tron Sportback recently, and like great driving, nice car, but like man, you're just worried about where to charge it every second.
What is charging like in Baltimore? Is it okay?
Well, luckily
easy?
we stayed in the building that had it in the basement, so that was easy for me. But when you go to these other places and there's different apps, and you like I just drove it to the airport because I was leaving for a day, and then I plugged it in. I'm like, man, you get to park in the front. This is cool. And then they was like, you need to download this app, and I'm like, man, I gotta catch a flight. I can't do all this. So
No, it's a problem. I mean, it's like, you know, you can go to any gas station you want, but every single charger is fussy and different. It doesn't work. And we've got a long
so
way to go.
the scary part is, like, I'm thinking, like, I drove to Philly one time and it was cold and I can't use the heat because it's gonna take away the miles, and it's like 95 miles there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I got
this range is like right, exactly.
And then I turn the heat on, it's gonna go down 30. So it's all like he said, and then you can't charge it like a gas station. You could just go in and be like, and then 10 minutes later you out.
Yeah, no, we got a ways to go, but you know, batteries are getting bigger, EVs are getting more efficient, you know, infrastructure.
But it's the future.
Oh yeah,
you believe that? So is it in your future? Like, did you get burned? Did you get burned by this e-tron Sportback?
No, he said a regular e-tron.
Oh, sorry, regular e-tron. Did you get burned by this experience, or are you like?
No, it was a Sportback, but it was SUV.
Oh, you had the Sportback.
It was fast.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
I definitely, the way I'm driving it, and I'm going, like, I mean, I think I got 7 tickets the first month, because it's all camera tickets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant.
And I found a way around it.
Okay.
Oh,
good.
Yeah. So you love the seamless acceleration, the 1-speed transmissions.
Yeah, it's like you can't even tell.
But that's the thing. I was going to say, the problem with that car is every time you look down, you're going 90.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing because it drives so well and there's no range.
And it's heavy, but you look back and nobody's around you.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't care about its weight. You know, they just came out with a new one. Now they changed the name to the Q8 e-tron.
Right.
It's the same car, but apparently it has a bigger battery. So I'm going to check that out.
So what would you be looking at? You like a Porsche, a Taycan?
For electric? I just sat in the Lucid.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, well,
man, that ceiling.
Yeah.
It's something about glass. I got a Target. It's something just about all glass.
You like that?
And it looked like the sunscreen is just stuck up there with suction cups.
Right.
And then it curves like this. So the creativity. And I'm like, now we can get creative, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Especially at the time where the people have budgets to, like when they was doing the 60s cars and you see all the dope interiors and stuff they use, and you like, these were artists that designed these cars. So when I'm in that car and I'm like, man, now you can get creative again. Because I ran a Tesla one time and I ran that almost out of gas itself. Right. But it was just a screen.
Right.
And I was like, at first I was like, oh, this is cool, because I was like on a little spaceship. Like, it made me think of the DeLorean and Back to the Future. I'm just hovering above the ground. But it had a blind spot in the pillar I wasn't a fan of. But
is it Model S or Model 3?
It was a 3.
The 3. Right.
But Tesla helped me get my first car, my brown car, because I invested in it. So I'm definitely pulling. for Tesla.
I hope you sold it all a few months ago.
I didn't, man. I'm going the long way. It's probably gonna reach 140 or something. But I got it for other reasons also, outside of just the car stuff. Right. Everything else that it has going on that I'm pulling for.
Sure.
Just don't stress Elon out, man. Y'all messing with my paper.
I think he's stressing himself out. He's
doing wild. He hard to gauge.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like Adidas when they took that when they signed Kanye now.
Oh man.
So I definitely like what he did to get the ball rolling on this.
Oh yeah.
And
can't take that away from him.
So I definitely see this is the future, because you're starting to see the Volkswagen out, and it's another car that I saw. It's another EV I saw that kind of has a nice body shape to it.
Oh boy. From a traditional manufacturer,
like
SUV. Polaris.
Oh, Polestar.
Polestar. Yeah.
Oh, you like that?
I saw the body on it. I was like, man, this kind of look out of futuristic.
So Polestar was the high performance brand for Volvo.
It was like their AMG.
That's like their AMG, or they're like it's owned, but they're owned by Geely, Chinese car manufacturer, and they split off Polestar into like the performance brand. But most of the engineering design is done in Sweden, Gothenburg. Guts are a lot of like Chinese battery and motors. But it's funny because a lot of people don't know logo. Logo's like this weird kind of like.
Yeah, that's why I noticed it. And
I tell people it's a new Tesla, and they like lose their minds.
Just the shape of it sticks out, right?
Right.
Because I was like, what is this? So, and the more I see him, like, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors got two. His garage is all Teslas.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
that's a
people
very
out
LA thing to do.
Yeah, Tesla be at the house. I'm like, man, you got a problem with both of them now. But I'm gonna drive the Taycan and check it out, and I'm just excited.
The new Cayman's not far off. New Boxer Cayman, and it's going to be electric.
Oh, word?
And that's like a year off.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It's gonna be. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be like the there's that Mission R thing, which I got to ride it. Actually, me and Reggie Watts went out to Spain and got to ride in it, and it's pretty wild because it's electric, but it's just like a full race car.
Dang.
You know, so it's all coming.
I gotta go to Spain.
We'll make it happen.
Well, we can. You know, I know.
Here's the thing, though.
I know some people.
With tech, we have to remember, because with tech, people don't understand. You have to do all the experimentation stuff, and then you get the prototype, and then the prototype got to get tested, then the prototype got to get improved, and then you got to mass produce it. And by that time, maybe like 5 years have went by. You know, we just got to keep that in mind.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, the best stuff.
I mean,
is yet
the
to
normal
come.
consumer has to keep those things in mind. When they,
Look, I mean, like, you know, EVs have reached this really interesting point right now, but in 10 years, the stuff we're going to be driving is going to be mind blowing. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it'll go 2,000 miles on a solid state iron battery
I
that has
agree.
no lithium in it whatsoever. You know, it's going to be crazy.
you better plug your phone in it, and then you could drive off
Right.
your phone battery.
Right.
yeah, they just right.
Oh,
You know.
fusion breakthrough yesterday.
So it's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
as they say, inevitable.
Oh.
Ding ding
Yeah,
ding.
Ed's going to have you back.
Brought to you
All
by
right.
MotorTrend.
MotorTrend.
That's right. So I think we're gonna. That's
Yeah.
a great place.
That's a good place to wrap up because we gotta go. But Byron, it was awesome.
We gotta have you back in. We'll
And-
spend more time.
and
problem.
I was supposed to say, it's been, you know, not knowing you that long, but like the success you've had, it's pretty cool to watch.
Thank you.
As someone looking in and kind of following what you're up to. Like,
Thank you.
man.
Appreciate
Cool.
it.
Nice
Anything
to be going.
you want to plug besides your special?
Oh man,
Anything
no, just for now, man. Go watch the special and have a great holiday and try to I want to say slow. Well, we just came out of COVID, but just take a moment.
Yeah.
You know, just take a moment.
You love the camera. Look at it. You
To
love
be
the camera.
present. I'm just used to this. You know what I mean? I should start my own. I should probably start one of these.
A podcast.
I should.
Yeah.
But yeah, just take a moment to be, because I got to engage the people I'm talking to be still and present. Have a mini shroom if you want to read about it. But present is something we take for granted.
Awesome. Thank you.
But
Thank
not
you
at
very much.
MotorTrend.
No.
Oh, we're too busy driving. Anyways, Byron, thank you so much.
Thank y'all
you.
for having me.
Alrighty.
Talk to you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Roll credits. Boom.